Hello and welcome to Trojans Live. Gordon Moore, Sean Cody, and Anna Cockrell joins us now. She's a national champion with women's track and field, both in team and individual capacities. But, first and foremost, Anna was at front and center, representing student athletes, representing her community. This summer, and that's what I want to get to first. And I do want to talk about track before we're all said and done tonight. But we heard from your coach. We had Carol Smith Gilbert on a couple weeks ago, and she sort of told the story about your early conversations with her in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. And from your side, how did all that and how it made you feel, the reaction to it, turn into this UBSAA and some really proactive opportunities coming for the student athletes and the athletic department?
Yeah, well, I'm glad y'all talked to Coach Carroll about it, because she was definitely one of the people who helped me out along the way and was pushing us and pushing me to get this organization going. But, we've been witness to the murders of multiple Black people over the years, not just in my lifetime, but prior to my lifetime, prior to that of my parents, going back to the foundation of this nation. So I think for me and for a lot of other people, George Floyd being murdered on camera was a continuation of a destructive cycle, a cycle that dehumanizes and commits violent acts against Black people. And it was it just felt like a breaking point. And on top of that, during a pandemic, we had time to be still and to contemplate, what does this mean and what can we do? So, in the wake of George Floyd, we were kind of asking ourselves, what is USC doing? Why aren't we hearing from USC? Why aren't we hearing from the athletic department? We want them to talk about this. We want them to acknowledge the injustice that's happening and the very real, tangible pain that Black student athletes and many other people around the nation are feeling because of it. And so I had a conversation with Coach Carroll, and she was like, well, what do you expect? If you want something done, you need to do it. And my reaction was like, you know what, you're right. And so then it went from conversations with her to we planned to have a Zoom meeting. And I just started DMing a whole bunch of people, texting everyone I knew in the athletic department saying, hey, come out. And as these messages were going out, as the Zoom invite was going out, Sade Adamalakan from soccer especially was like, hey, we need to get an organization going. Let's build on this. Bailey Lear from track and field as well was really adamant about getting an organization going. So it went from, we need to have space to talk and to heal and to fellowship and to grieve and to process, to what else can we do besides this moment? And it became the United Black Student Athletes Association. And it's just been going since then. That was in, was that in May? It feels like a lifetime ago, but it's only been a couple of months.
When you live the same day over and over again, it's very hard to mark time.
Exactly.
And I was wondering, you seem like you've accomplished so much already. I was reading your bio today, and you've been successful in your sport. You're a leader in your social justice movement. What does this year look like for you? What are you trying to accomplish, and what are some of the goals you've set out to master?
I think first and foremost, on a personal level, I just want to be happy and feel fulfilled. That's something I've talked about before, something I've struggled with, and I just want to do things that make me feel whole and that serve me. So that's the personal, like outside of track, outside of activism, that's one of the guiding goals for this year. Beyond that, we created the United Black Student Athletes Association, but we want to build an organization that can outlast me, can outlast the people that are currently in it, and can exist for years and years to come as a strong organization that makes contributions to USC, to Los Angeles, and to broader conversations about athletics and race in the United States. So I want to be happy and fulfilled. I want to continue to build this organization with so many other amazing student athletes. And then on the track side of things, praying that the pandemic will allow us to compete. I want to close out my last season as a Trojan. Obviously, I want to win individually and as a team, go to Olympic trials and go to the Olympics from there. So those are the 3 areas of my life goals for this year.
Well, you have a wide range of interests, and so you have a wide range of goals. You're such, as Sean said, you're such an impressive young person and such an involved young person. But it's always been this way that the young generations get cast aside and people say, oh, they're not interested in that, and often criticized. And I know you don't feel that way about your peers and your teammates and all the people you've talked to. And I'm curious what what's been the reaction? What matters to people of your generation? I'm not asking you to speak for the whole generation, just the people that you've spent a lot of time talking to. You know, what matters to them right now? What has stood out in these discussions?
You know, I think what matters to our generation is authenticity. I think authenticity is really important so I'm Gen Z. I'm not even old enough to be a millennial. I'm the oldest of Gen Z. And one of the hallmarks of Gen Z is we look for authenticity. We want to see brands, elected officials, leaders that reflect our values in a way that seems honest and meaningful. And I think that extends beyond just, brands and everything else, but we want our institutions to be authentic and to care as well. So I think that's important. And then I also think just tangible action, not just words, not just, yes, we support you, show us how you support us, do demonstrate that support. So I think authenticity, demonstrable action is really important. And then I think a lot of us, we've grown up in an era where information was readily available at our fingertips. I didn't know a world without the internet. I didn't know a world without Google. So most of us are very well researched. We do our research and we want to constantly educate not only ourselves, but others. So I think this piece about education, about expanding knowledge, sharing knowledge is really, really important.
And I'm having trouble trying to talk to you because you seem so bright and above me. I need to bring it back to sports or something. She's already 10 times above me as far as talking. Let's get back to some sports here for Sean to talk. I want you to explain to people out there how hard the 400 meters is and then throw hurdles into it. I mean, I tried to run 400 meters one time, Jordan, and I probably made 300 meters of it.
It's the worst event.
Tell people the training and the effort and how difficult running a 400 meter hurdles is.
It's never any easier. It only gets faster. That was the best advice a coach ever gave me about that event is you don't run to make it easier. It never is going to feel like, okay,
I made it.
I'm not tired. You're always going to be spent at the end of the race. You're always going to feel it. And so to train for that, you have to go to that place all the time. And, that's what I'm working on is going to that place where the pain is and just living there, existing there and thriving there. So it's a lot of difficult workouts. We do a lot of repeat 300s. We do, I think the track team at this point is notorious for our hills. A lot of other teams have started doing the 90-meter hills that we do. After your first year at USC, you start wearing a weight vest. So during the fall, we do all of our bounds, we do our hills, we do our hurdle hops, all of that with the weight vest on, and then we take it off and we run. So it's incredibly difficult physically and mentally to just, Coach Watts calls it the pain business. And that's what it is, the pain business. And you have to just go there, go out to the deep end and see if you can swim.
Yeah, you've talked me out of getting my training right for the 400. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I know you were right. You were right there. It just sounds absolutely awful. But you did look to the untrained eye like you were pretty much in cruise control last time we saw you in your individual event in the NCAA championships. You won the title comfortably. I'm wondering what that next level is then, because obviously Tokyo 2021 now, that carrot is out there for you. The hardest part sometimes I think is qualifying for the U.S. Olympic team, let alone competing once you're in the Olympics. I know these are goals for you. What is that next step of being sort of dominant at the NCAA level to being dominant at that next level?
Yeah, I mean, you never take the NCAA for granted. So you never know who's out there, who wants it. So I think it's always important to keep that in mind. Like, there's always somebody who wants it. And I never for a second would be like, oh, it's a given. I have to work for every single race, every single meet, every single title. So I think just that mentality that, I need to work. If I want to repeat as an NCAA champion, I have to work for it. And if I want to go beyond that, I have to go even further than I've ever gone before. And it's something that I'm really looking forward to, just elevating myself and my training and my running to a different space. And I think what it really comes down to for me is taking the mental out of it. My coaches tell me I make things too complicated sometimes, that I just need to go out there and run. And so that's been really the focus for me when I've been at practice this year, just taking 5 minutes before we start to clear my head, to breathe, to be in touch with my body so that I can ask my body to rise to the demands that I'm placing on it and just run. And that's really all I can say about it. I feel good about my hurdle technique because I'm a 100-meter hurdler. And it's just overcoming some of the last few mental obstacles that I've been working through the last couple of years.
Well, you truly. Oh, sorry, Sean. Did you
No,
have a final thought?
Well, I was just going to say, I just want her to represent. I just want to let her represent for North Carolina, North Kakalaki out there. I know she was born here, but grew up in North Carolina. Did you have anything to say, Anna, about North Carolina?
I love North Carolina. The people there have been unbelievably supportive of me. When I was there during quarantine, we were training in a public park, and like every other day it felt like someone would be like, "Hey, are you that girl from PD that went to USC?" Like, yeah, that is me. So it's just been an unbelievable community. Anytime I do anything, people from North Carolina show love. And like, I'm from the 704, I'm from Charlotte. So it just means the world to me to know that people not only care enough to like follow what I do and keep up with me, but to show that support and to say, hey, we see you, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, you have fans coast to coast, and we're just so appreciative and impressed by much more than what you do on the track, what you have done in this fight for social justice, and continue to do and continue to lead the way going forward. So thank you, Anna Cockrell, for joining Trojans Live.